Good day, Internet people! Hello, it's Mr. Phil here, and I've got my little Dragonic Blademaster Kagero deck profile for you today. What I will say is this is technically a budget deck. There's only one card in here which is even vaguely anywhere near £10 or $10 or whatever you want to call it. Not counting the perfect guards, so don't berate me saying, oh, you're missing Dragonic Overlord DX or whatever, because it wasn't designed to be that kind of deck, because I don't want to spend loads of money on this one. So with that said, let's get into the funsies, shall we? Starter is my classic favourite from, I think, BT16. Dragon Knight Sadeg, is he 16? He's 14, okay. Basically, he's got the amazing skill of when something retires, put him in the soul, and retire something else. It can be anything, which is really nice for popping a starter, or a grade 3, or whatever you want. You just target some... Well, actually, you don't target it, the opponent chooses it. Now think about it, doesn't it? But... you know, if you target your first attack, and then if they're left with only one, then...
Because usually you wait until there's only 2 rear guards anyway, and just make both of them die.
Use this to retire the one I wouldn't be able to target, if that's the case.
It should also definitely be clarified that even though this is technically a budget deck, it's still no less gross.
It can be pretty gross. Right, that's the starter. I'll go quick through the triggers pretty quickly here. I run crits at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 different artworks. I run draw trigger at 4, Gatling Claw.
The draw trigger.
Because Gatling Claw's amazing. And I run 2 stands. This is the guy who, if a thing retires while he's on the field, you basically give a unit plus 10 and recycle it.
That's on GB1.
GB1. And I run 4 heal triggers. So not much to say about that. 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. I think that's pretty par for the course. 4 of the nice new Perfect Guard Protect Orb Dragon. You all know what these do by now. Basically, if there's one already in the drop zone, you just unflip damage when you use it. Proviso being you can only use it to protect the Vanguard now, and not the rear guards. Grade 1 line up further. We run 4 of the Ditch for Stride, and search out the correct grade 3 guy, because you don't really want to ride your secondary grade 3 in this deck. It's not ideal, and if nothing else you can drop it for Stride, it's cheap and you're not losing too much. Pretty standard in any deck that has those. 3 Dragon Knight Kimnara, or Demonic Dragon Mage Kimnara if you want to be more specific about it. He's a classic one from, again, booster set 2. 6k, counterblast 1, put him into the soul, and retire one of your opponent's grade 1 rear guards. Not grade 1 or less, it is specifically grade 1, but it's very nice. You wouldn't bother with that against Shadow Paladins under normal circumstances, because they can cause grade 1s really easily, but, you know, sometimes you just want to knock your opponent down, or this deck does occasionally benefit from retires in other ways. As you're about to see in the last of the grade 1s, I run 3 of this guy, Energy Flame Athonic, if that's how you want to pronounce it, or Ethonic. He's a really nice little card. Basically, if he's on the rear guard and a thing retires, you can put him into the cell to unflip 2 damage. If he's on the field and you do a Berserk Dragon, for example, then you can basically unflip the 2 that you just counterblasted, and your retire was basically free. Of course, you are losing a unit yourself, like with Kimnara, so it does kind of balance out a bit. You're not really plussing yourself compared to the opponent necessarily, but, you know, that's Kagero's thing. You tend to lose a unit in order to retire one of your opponents, generally. This guy's an exception. I only run this guy at 3 now. I had 4 in there, but I'm experimenting a bit. This is the guy when he's boosted. Basically, if he's boosted on Generation Break 1, Counterblast 1, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards and retire it. So, that's pretty nice, and you can combo with the starter as well to retire 2 things. And yeah, it's pretty nice, and that SP one is extremely spangly. That's coming up on the camera, nice. Okay, that's that. And we've got 3 of this guy, Dragon Knight Tanaz. Generation Break 1.
I was going to say, this formerly was Chain Attack Sutherland, but this one's more powerful.
Yeah, this guy's basically replaced Chain Attack Sutherland. Same attack power, essentially the same skill, difference being, whereas Chain Attack Sutherland got +3 when a thing's retired, this guy gets +5. You do it once and he's swinging for 13, do it twice, he's swinging for 18. You're going to hit the right numbers all the way up, basically. which is a pretty nice effect. If you do it with Root Flare Dragon, for example, that's an instant plus 10 on this guy.
Yeah.
Swinging for 18. So, you know, you aren't going to complain about him. Yes, he's an 8k. Yes, you don't want to ride it necessarily. But, you know, what you gonna do? 2 of this guy, Dragon Knight Jabad, or Jahad, I can't quite read that right now. Anyway, he's your standard, when he attacks a Vanguard on GB1 he gets plus 3k, hits for 12. If you're running low on rear guards or whatever, he's still hitting the number. And, you know, a useful card, but I only run it at 2. Because I've got to leave room for Mr. Classic here, Berserk Dragon. Been around since the start, before BTO 1 hit. We're talking original BTO 1. This guy has just been there from the trial deck and the flash deck, I think, as well.
So you can do the combo of that plus Sadag plus that grade 1, and you've only lost 2 of your own rear guards to retire 2 of theirs.
Yep. And again, not him, but you've got that guy on the field, and he's just gained plus 10 out of that as well. So that's only if you're on GB1, obviously. But yeah. You can't really go wrong. The Counterblast 2, you start to think, it's getting expensive. But then you've got the unflipping from the perfect guards, the unflipping from the grade 1s, and all of a sudden that looks a lot cheaper, which is
also,
nice.
It's the perfect response to being critted on turn 1.
Exactly. If you get crit on turn 1, you're just like, yeah, Berserk, take this. Grade 3 lineup. I'll start with this guy. He isn't amazing, really, but I run it because it's a cheapo, it's a budget deck, and there isn't any other Kagero with Generation Break yet. That's the main reason I wanted to run him, just because it is like the current type of game. I would have perhaps kept Blast Bulk Dragon in, but then I'd have had to make some room in my grade 1 lineup for the guy who obviously lets you use Limit Break early. I didn't really want to start messing with that grade 1 lineup because it's pretty tight already. Anyway, this guy is Double Perish Dragon, Generation Break 1. It's got Counterblast 2, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. Powerful because it's obviously anything. And when he's placed, you can Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1 to choose one of your opponent's grade 1 or less rear guards and retire it. Yeah, not bad. It'd be nice if that second skill perhaps worked on the rear guard. That would make this a real must-play kind of card. But as it is, you'll just probably ditch him for stride most of the time. You won't ride him if you have a choice. And the big bad boss is Dragonic Blademaster. I'll say big bad boss. He's about £2.50 on the internet, and he's only a double R. I didn't even give him the triple treatment. But he's got a Generation Break 2 skill, which is during your turn, if the number of rear guards you have is more than your opponent's, he gets plus 5 and a crit.
Not to be sniffed at, really.
It's not bad. It's probably one of the easiest plus 5s and a crits you'll get without having to pay a cost. But it's not groundbreaking when you consider some of the stuff that's in the later sets already. And his other skill is Counterblast 1 when you stride to choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So again, that's what you kind of want him for, really. You're going to stride upon him. You don't really want a turn where you don't stride, because that's plus 5 and a crit. You're probably still better off with the plus 16 from striding, or the plus 15, I think. Especially with a triple drive, and you're increasingly likely to get some of those crits out. So that's the bulk of the deck. Obviously we'd come on to stride, with the only options Kagero have right now.
At the time of filming, because of course we are that close to getting Fighter's Collection.
Fighter's Collection isn't far off at all. Yeah, Root Flare Dragon, he's basically a Persona flip with no other cost to retire a unit and another unit in the same column as that unit. So it's like a Perdition kind of effect, basically. And I can imagine this guy works wonders in a Perdition build. And then there's 4 of this guy. Divine Dragon Knight, Mahmood. Try and hold that where you can actually see it. He's the single rare. When he hits, retire one of your opponent's rear guards. So, you know, that's not bad. What this deck will have trouble with is some of the new stuff for Aqua Force and Great Nature, because they have the new resist ability. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, particularly with Aqua Force, because I think they're going to be absolutely hideous to fight against with all that multiple attack.
You've always enjoyed playing against clans that have multiple attacks.
It's my nightmare. I hate it. I don't mind using... Well, actually, I don't like using them. That's why I didn't go with Nova Grappler in the end, because I felt like an arsehole. Basically. So, yeah. That's this deck. It basically is focused on retiring your things and benefiting from that retirement where possible. Yeah, it's pretty cool. What would be nice, I think, if I could have anything for this, it would be some kind of draw engine from the retirement. Something to really give you a plus, like when something's retired, Soul Blast 1 to draw. Something along those lines would really give this a bit of an edge to kind of keep you in the game. Because you do tend to find yourself running out of cards when a lot of your stuff goes into the soul to activate the retirement skills. So I would like to see a bit more draw from this deck. So we'll see what the rest of the Booster Set 3 Sovereign Star Dragon or whatever it's called holds, because at the moment there's only like one card revealed for that, which is the Stride guy. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye bye.